We back, folks. We back on a Thursday night for Top Baits Live, Lake Fork Bass Fishing Style. It's fall. Fall's coming. It don't feel like it. It don't feel like it until you see them shads start to stack up. You get a couple bites on that swim bait. It's starting to feel like fall, y'all. Cheers, y'all. Top Baits on a Thursday night, Lake Fork Style. Let's get it. Come on, Uncle Ted. Tell him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're starting it right tonight, man. I kind of like the Uncle Ted intros on the Top Baits. It is Lake Fork bass fishing. It is fall transition time. They are starting to bite a swim bait in a couple different ways. We're going to talk to you about that tonight, as well as the other baits that have been working for me best on the water this week. We got big tournaments coming up. There's a tournament on Fork this weekend. There's a benefit tournament on Lake Palestine this weekend. We got the big Sea Outdoors tournament coming up the following weekend. So, man, we have got the content loaded up. Just went out and filmed some more content for you guys this morning with David Ozio. You guys will be seeing that next week. Of course, we got our free seminar tomorrow night at Lake Fork Marina. If you're in town, if you're around, looking to get down, you see what I did there? Anyways, come see us at Lake Fork Marina tomorrow night at 6 p.m. We'll be doing a free seminar. Love to see you guys out there, answer any questions in person, hang out with you guys, shoot the breeze, as they say, about fishing and anything else you guys want to talk about. So come on out to Lake Fork Marina tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the free seminar. We'd love to meet you or see you again if you've been there before, of course. Look, this is my shark logo because I've been coaching the little Van Shark soccer team out here. Just came straight off the soccer fields. Rolled by Sonic, picked the dinner up for the boys. They in there eating right now, getting showers, while I'm out here live streaming. We just living the dream, baby. Fish all day, soccer all evening. Eat cheeseburgers and drink whiskey and do it all again, I guess. I don't know, man. But it's a pretty good lifestyle. I can't complain. I get to live a pretty awesome life, and I'm aware. It's thanks to all you guys. So cheers, y'all. Thank you. Before we break off into the top baits tonight, let's say, oh yeah, hey, do me a favor. Y'all know the drill. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoy these. Looks like we're a little low on numbers. This is our first one back. I didn't announce it or plug it anywhere else on social media, so it makes sense that our numbers would be lower. So you guys, I'm gonna need all the help from every one of you guys in this room that I can get. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up if you don't mind. Also, drop me a comment. Let me know who I'm talking to. Ask me any questions you might throughout the night. If I missed it in the beginning, I'll try and loop back and get to it at the end. But drop the comments. And of course, if you know how, which means you're smarter than me, that's still not saying much, but if you know how, please share this live stream. If you know how to share it, share away, tag buddies in comments, whatever y'all can do. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. Hopefully y'all do. So let's say some hellos and how you doing to the early risers, as we call them around here. We'll go back up to the top and start there. Gary Payne in the house. Appreciate you, Gary Payne. John Sherry, Terry Connolly, Vic Pearsall, James Clifton, Bustin' Outdoors, Dusty Smith. Jay Bonner, what's up, big dog? Jay Bonner, I got your message. I apologize for not answering. I've literally been running from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day this week. I just haven't had a chance to get back with you. Rocky Shoe, Brad Lamar, Big John in the house, Billy Castleberry. That's a great first name, by the way, Castleberry. Johnny Rocket. That's a great name overall. Mike Bray's in the house. Fish with Mike on Tuesday, I believe. I fish with Mike. And Michael Menon. And I'm sure there will be more to come as we continue tonight. So, swim baits signify something to me every year when at the end of summer you start getting bit on a swim bait a little bit. It tells me something. Now, there's been a few other keys. I guess I can turn my hat around. I'm not chasing kids around a soccer field. This is for speed on the soccer field, by the way. This right here, this is aerodynamical because the rest of me ain't. So when I'm chasing them kids around a soccer field, I got to turn my hat around so I get faster. Now we're talking fishing. We can go ahead and wear it like this so you guys can see the logo that is the great 6 Sense Fishing. Few signs that I've been seeing that tell me it's fall, even though it doesn't feel like fall. It does in the morning sometimes. We had some cool mornings this week, but it's like it was 93 at one point today. That doesn't feel like fall at all in any kind of way when it's 93 outside. I think we'd all agree on that. But here's what's going on. About a week, maybe two, about a week to 10, about 10 days ago or so, I have oak trees in my yard, and some of them overhang my driveway. And it's real obvious when those acorns start falling because I run over them coming in and out of my driveway. It makes this big mess in my driveway. And it makes a loud noise when you pop those acorns. When acorns start falling, fall's coming. And what I believe happens, and what does happen, is the days are getting shorter. The days turn around towards the end of July, start getting shorter throughout August. They're really starting to get shorter now in September. That signifies to nature fall is coming. The trees start dropping acorns. Those same type of signals, those same cues are happening to those shad, happening to those bass in the water. They know fall is coming. They are starting to behave like fall bass, even though the water temps haven't cooled down very much at all just yet. They have cooled some, haven't cooled down a tremendous amount. We're still in the mid 80s, upper 80s at times. Really just kind of the mid range of the 80s is what the water temps are at. All that being said, regardless of the water temps, regardless of the air temps, fall's, it's kind of here. Fish are transitioning. Shad are stacking up in big numbers in some of the pockets and creek arms. Fish are moving to the bank. This week alone, I literally watched multiple schools of offshore fish go from being grouped up, awesome, catch them up, to dissipating day by day, leaving the offshore stuff. Even the fish that I still found offshore, they were shallower than the offshore fish that we found at the beginning of the week. It's happening. The transition, we are at the beginning, the first half of the fall transition. The other thing that clues me in is the swim bait bite. When fish start biting a swim bait in multiple ways and situations, it tells me one thing. The fish are really, really beginning to key solely on shad. They're really getting hyper-focused on shad because that swim bait imitates the shad so well. And when they start biting that swim bait, even the little ones, it tells me that that's the fall transition. It's a key. It's a clue to me as to how I can expect fish to begin to behave. So, wanted to give you that long spill. Sorry. We'll probably talk about this a whole lot more in depth tomorrow night at the seminar, 6 p.m. Lake Fork Marina if you guys want to come out. That being said, let's talk about the offshore fishing that's happening because it is still happening. It is definitely still happening. One bait that was key to me, especially for bigger bites this week offshore, was the Divine Swim Bait, of course. The 4-inch Divine Swim Bait on a 1/2 ounce underspin jig head. That's a 6-inch Divine underspin, a 6-inch Divine Swim Bait, and the 4-inch, just a shad, any kind of shad color you want, pro shad, anything white looking, it all work. Fishing this bait really slow, really close to the bottom. Throwing it on that 1/2 ounce underspin with that little swim bait, it helps keep it down. I'm throwing it out there as far as I can. I'm marking the school on my graph. I'm setting up about 40 to 50 feet away from the school, maybe 60. And I'm throwing it as far past that school as I can, letting the bait go all the way to the bottom, pointing my rod tip down, and just slow rolling it back to the boat. Every once in a while, I'll slow down and even pause it every once in a while to make sure I'm not getting too far to the bottom because that swim bait will start rising. I'll pause it. If it takes too long to fall to the bottom, I know I need to slow down that much more. It should be a pause. Boom. It should hit the bottom that quick. I don't want it very far off the bottom because these fish are close to the bottom for the most part. Or at least the ones I want to fish for are. So that's how we're catching fish offshore on that swim bait. The other thing that we're using offshore is two other things. One is the big shaky head. And we're throwing the ridge worm in plum on the big shake 'em head. That's the 10-inch ridge worm on a 5/8 ounce 7/0 hook Divine shaky head. All of these baits that we're showing you so far, and I believe every bait that we're going to talk about tonight, can all be found at 6centfishing.com, guys. Every one of them is a 6 cents bait. That company has become such a big, wide, broad spectrum of awesomeness, and they've got such variety of tackle that, man, I find myself predominantly using 6 Cents Fishing products. So go to 6centfishing.com, order anything you need, and be sure you use the code Your Lake Fork Guide. It'll save you 10% on anything you order. One other thing. Carolina rig, rigging up a 1 ounce Carolina rig with about a 3 to 4 foot leader, and I'm throwing the hog wallet in plum as well. Also today the hog wallet in like a watermelon blue color, watermelon magic. Those colors were working better today, but plum has been a great color here lately in all settings. This bait is going to come into play multiple times in multiple situations right now. I'll tell you about that as we go. But the other bait that we're using was a big shaky head, Divine Swim Bait on underspin, and then the Carolina rig with a hog wallet. That's how I'm doing it offshore. Depth that I'm fishing offshore today, it was more around 15 foot. Earlier in the week, it was 20 to 25. Like I said, even the offshore fish moved and positioned a little shallower. A lot of those schools that were offshore went away altogether. More fish are moving to the bank. More fish are moving to mid-depth docks as well. I am fishing some docks anywhere from 4 to 8, 10, even as deep as about 4 to 10 foot of water, depending on the dock, depending on what part of the lake it's on and all that. But fishing some key docks, the main thing that I want on a dock right now, most of the docks that I'm catching fish on are one of two things. One, they're very isolated. The dock is very isolated. There's not a lot of other docks around. There's not a lot of other cover around that dock. Catching fish on those docks. The other factor is the docks that have drop-offs. Multiple different days this week I caught fish on docks where it had a drop in the dock. So you've got your walkway to the dock here. You've got your big boathouse area on the dock out here. Well, there'll be a bottom contour somewhere within that dock. The docks that featured drop-offs seem to be the most consistent docks for me. And then the isolated docks did well also. On the boat docks, I'm throwing that same plum hog walla Texas rig on a 1/4 ounce Texas rig. Has been my personal best bait. David Ozio is with me today. He caught some on the docks on a shaky head with a straight tail worm, divine shaky head worm, and he caught some on a drop shot with a divine shaky head worm. So Ozio caught some on that. I've been using the Texas rig hog walla. Last but not least, the thing that is starting to pick up and should continue to get better day by day by day, week by week, as we go forward throughout the month of October into November, and throughout the month of September, throughout the month of October, and even as we get to November, this bite will continue to get better and better and better. Shallow bite, backs of creeks, vegetation related mainly. It does help if you have coontail or hydrilla scattered across the pocket. That's a big, big win. But you don't have to have it. Some of the creeks that don't have that, that just have shoreline vegetation, are getting shad stacked up around that shoreline vegetation as well. Definitely want to fish around the vegetation though. That's been a key deal. There's been a couple different baits that have worked really well. One's going to be the swim bait. I really like this little bitty one right now, the 3-inch Divine swim bait on a 3/0 owner flashy swimmer. We're also throwing the 4.5-inch Divine swim bait on a 5/0 owner flashy swimmer at times. Both of those are getting bit. This one's going to get more bites. It gets bigger bites too this time of year because a lot of the shad that move early are so shallow. A lot of the shad that move shallow early are so small. Is what I meant to say. So small. So I like the little one. The big one can, the medium-sized one can get bit as well though. The other bait that I've been throwing around there is a wacky rig trick worm, just a divine shaky head worm, and I'm just throwing that in watermelon with flake. It can be watermelon blue, watermelon candy magic, just watermelon with sparkle. Basically, is the color divine shaky head worm that I've been wacky rigging. If it's calm with no wind, I really tend to lean on the wacky worm. The more wind I have, the more I play that swim bait. So chatterbait's been a little bit of a player too. Swim bait's been a little better here the last couple of days. That's a lot of baits. It's a lot of different style. It's shallow, it's mid, it's deep. I'm telling you guys everything because there's a little bit of everything going on. We are starting the fall transition. That is what is happening right now on Lake Fork. So I know that's a lot to digest, a lot to take in. I certainly hope it helps you. If you guys are going out this weekend, it's not just a real easy time. It's kind of a grind them and find them. We've had productive days most days this week, but we're having to work for it. We're having to catch one or two here, one or two there, do different things, really adjust to the conditions on the fly. I mean, we're just having to fish our butts off to catch the fish we're catching right now. But at the end of the day, most days we're coming out with a pretty good day and some good big bites. So it's there to be had. Tournament unders are certainly there to be had. Certainly there to be had on the tournament unders. They're available for sure. That's how it's happening. That's my synopsis for the week, my report for the week, my baits for the week, and I hope it helps you guys a bunch. Let's answer some questions. Cheers, y'all. Thursday night, let's go. Jay Bonner, I sure will. Cody May says, how's your top water been this week in the morning? Honestly, I haven't really thrown a lot of top water. I've really been throwing that swim bait and that chatterbait a lot. And then when it's calm, I'm throwing that wacky one. How deep? We answered the how deep on the offshore stuff. Cowboys and Packers suck. Oh, wait a minute. Is the Not For Long League playing tonight? I forgot all about that. Maybe that's why our numbers are down. Everybody's watching the Not For Long League. Tell you what, if you guys had any questions, go ahead and ask them again. I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions, but ask me again. Michael Menon says, fall is by far my weakest season. Can't wait for winter. Don't sleep on that fall bite, man. Stay with us. We'll try to give you some tips and clues throughout the fall. We'll be here every single week throughout the fall. We'll be on the water every week throughout the fall. I love fall fishing. It can be hit or miss. Fall fishing can definitely, excuse me, fall fishing can definitely be hit or miss. It can be all or nothing. But man, you get it right in the fall, especially once a little bit later in the fall, once they really start ganging up on shad in a bigger way. Some of the home run days you can have, numbers wise, are just unbelievable. Shallow crankbait about to crank up? Yeah, it should be. Yeah, yes. When that shallow swim bait, the shallow crankbait should be too. I'm fishing a lot around vegetation, so I'm not using crankbaits as much. That lipless crankbait, when that water gets down to the 70s, that lipless crankbait will really play, and I'll use that a ton around vegetation. But the square bills and stuff too, especially if you don't have as much vegetation, a little bit more scattered stuff, that square bill is a phenomenal bait this time of year. What's it like in November? Thinking of coming down Thanksgiving week. What should I expect that time of year? Whoo! Let me tell you guys about Thanksgiving now. I'm telling you, for years and years, last fall was a little wonky. It wasn't as good. But for years and years and years, my favorite weekend of the whole year seemed to be the weekend before Thanksgiving. For whatever reason, that weekend was like my best weekend. Right there around Thanksgiving time, that was like right before they left fall and went into winter patterns. And golly, man, I've had some just unbelievably amazing days right around Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving. So what you'll find as we get later in the fall, once the transition kind of settles out and we're into the real fall bite, you'll have two separate groups of fish. You'll have fish that go back in the creeks and the coves and chase the shad, but they'll be grouped up at that time. By that time, they'll be grouped up chasing shad. You'll then have another group of fish that, after the transition, go and group up out deep. But in both scenarios, shallow and deep, the fish are really schooled up in what's probably the biggest schools you'll see all year. You'll see in the fall. What that means is there's a higher percentage of the water that's empty, so you can go out there and zero your butt if you don't know what you're doing. Or if you just make a few wrong decisions, it can go bad for you quick, right? But if you get on the fish, there's so big a numbers of fish, and they are there. The beautiful thing about fall is it's great temperatures. The water temperatures are great. The fish feel really good. They're really active. And they have one thing on their mind and one thing on that's eating. Every fish in the lake is eating in the fall. So when you find them, you can catch their butts like no other time of year. So I love fall fishing. And right around Thanksgiving is usually a really good time to be there. That jig bite starts up around then too, around Thanksgiving. Michael Bray says, it seemed the fish were hitting the chatterbait hard but not trying to eat it. What's your suggestion when this happens? Change color, change size, change trailer. Make small adjustments. If you're getting the fish to go ahead and commit enough to where they'll hit it but they're just not taking the bait, make small adjustments to see if you can trigger them to go ahead and commit to it. Change size of trailers, change type of trailers. Do a little bit of a slight color change. Trim the skirt, make the bait more compact. Make it bigger. Just make little adjustments so you can figure out what the deal is that they're going to eat. Jay Bonner says you got to keep your mind right on this lake to catch them. That is no lie, man. Lake Fork ain't no punk. This is not the 101 course. This is the 404 course. This is the senior graduate course, man. You got to have your stuff together out there, no doubt. Pay attention to the details, all that good stuff. When do you use a buzzbait? In the fall, there's a fall buzzbait bite that does exist. I like the water to get colder. I like it to get down to the bottom of 70s, even into the 60s, and I really like a buzzbait and a whopper plopper at that time. Throw something with trebles if you can. Yeah. Hey, that's not the worst suggestion. That's for sure, Cam. If you're getting short struck on a chatterbait, they're popping it, not eating it. Pick you up a lipless crankbait slinging out there. When they slap at that thing, they'll get hooked up sometimes. When they slap it, they're gonna have a lot harder time popping and dropping that lipless crankbait or a jerkbait. Usually, a chatterbait and lipless crankbait you can fish in the same areas. Is Mad Dog more this weekend? Somebody said Mad Dog more this weekend on Fort. I guess. I don't know. I know there's a tournament. Maybe that. It's about the time for the Mad Dog more, so probably so. Have you thrown jerkbaits in the fall using a faster cadence? If so, do you like a provoke style with no tail or a jerkbait with a feather tail? I like it with no tail. And yes, I love throwing a jerkbait in the fall, especially when the water gets in the upper 60s, lower 70s, same time as that buzzbait deal, especially in post-frontal conditions. But yeah, I love throwing a jerkbait in the fall, and I love throwing it fast. I don't like fishing a jerkbait in the wintertime. I hate having to be that patient and pause it. I never can seem to pause it long enough. But in the fall, you can fish it fast and catch them, just like you can in the spring. And I really enjoy fishing jerkbait when I can fish it fast. It's a fun bait to fish. And it's super effective in the fall because it's another shad imitator and they're eating. And nothing makes a fish react quite as good as a jerkbait, it doesn't seem like. All right, I think we caught up on questions there. What else y'all got tonight? Who else has got some questions for your boy? Cheers, y'all. It's Thursday night. We're back. Thursday night live streams are back. Cheers, y'all. Let's go. Do I fish the flukes much? Man, not as much. When I go to weightless plastics, I'm usually either a wacky rigged trick worm style, like a Divine Shiggy worm, or I'm throwing a weightless stick bait like a 6 cents clout. I tend to go to those more than I do a fluke. Doesn't make it right or wrong or indifferent. I think they're all so similar. You can probably catch the same fish on all of them. I throw the weightless Texas rig stick baits like the clout when I'm fishing more vegetation or more cover, more timber. And I throw the wacky worm most of the time, honestly. Am I throwing the impact trailer on the chatterbait or move back to the paddle tail? I've moved back to a paddle tail trailer. For me, this time of year, I like a paddle tail trailer on a chatterbait. Once the water gets down into the 60s, I will go to the Live Magic Shad trailer. I only throw the impact shad kind of when it's real hot in the summer. What size flashy simmer on swim bait? For the 3.5 inch, I'm throwing a 3/0. For the 4.5 inch, we're throwing a 5/0 on the flashy swimmers. Well, I'm just rattling. I am high speed, low drag tonight. I'm mowing through y'all's questions tonight. We get it fast. We get it done. Shit, we might just have us a short live stream tonight. You know what I'm saying? Let everybody go get some rest and go catch them up this weekend. Come see me tomorrow night, Lake Fork Marina, 6 p.m. I want to see every one of y'all there that can be there. I would love to meet some new faces. Love to see some old ones that have been there before. What are my opinions on Active Target? It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Unbelievably good. And combined with the 360, it's really unbelievably good. Rocky Shoe says he's coming. His wife got him a trip for his birthday. He's coming at the end of the month. I will look forward to that, brother. Look forward to getting out there with you. Color. Anything shad colored right now. I mean, that's kind of what we're going to be. On moving baits, everything's going to be shad colored going forward. Just whites. Pro Shad and the Divine Swim Bait is a color I really like. All right. Well, there we go. We'll start kind of doing our closing statements. Y'all keep asking questions if you want to, and I will answer as many as I can. Got content coming next week. Filmed with David Ozio today. We'll have some on-the-water footage from Lake Fork. We'll have an in-depth instructional from David as well on Wednesday. Monday will be the on the water. Wednesday will be the instructional. Have I sold my boat yet? Nope, I haven't sold this boat yet. I have not sold this boat yet, unless if Cody Mays is still in here. I don't know if Cody Mays is going to buy it or not. He had talked about it, but it's kind of a tricky deal, us both having to get rid of a boat and get a new one at the same time. There was a delay in me ordering one. It's a weird deal. I have not sold this boat yet. In fact, that reminds me, I got to go order my new one. I got to order my new one so I can find a date when I need to sell this by. I almost don't want to get rid of it. I like the electronics on there so much. New hard swim bait. What do I think about that? Trace swim bait is very good. It's a multi-jointed hard swim bait. I don't those as much as I do glide baits. There's a new glide bait coming that I really, really like from 6 Sense. The new glide bait that 6 Sense is putting out, it's a great bait. It is a great glide bait. But the multi-jointed hard bait, I don't throw those as much, but it's a very good one. And for sure, when those gizzard shad run up shallow on them points in the springtime, I'll be chunking it a bunch then. More Uncle Ted at the end. How many hours on it? It hit 100 hours today on that boat. 100 hours on that boat right there today. More Uncle Ted at the end. I think we can arrange that. Let me see if I can get some Uncle Ted queued up when we end this thing. Anyway, content coming out next week from Lake Fork on the water. Don't know where the week after that'll be, but of course we'll have everything we always do, man. We're back. Oh, we got a special piece of content coming for you guys. Saturday, we're going to do a special live stream. It's 20th anniversary of 9/11. It's not going to have anything to do with fishing, but Saturday evening, 5 p.m., we're going to sit down and do a live stream. We're going to talk about September 11th, and we're going to talk to some veterans. I know for sure I got one pretty dang famous veteran that's going to come on with us over the phone. We're going to try and talk to multiple veterans, and we're going to have a Gold Star brother, and Cody Mays is going to co-host it with me. His brother gave his life serving this country in Afghanistan. We're going to talk to him about how 9/11 has affected his family. We're going to talk about how 9/11 has affected each one of us, some of the experiences that we've had since 9/11 20 years ago. And of course, we're going to do everything we can to honor this great, great nation and the unbelievably amazing men and women who have served it. We're not going to go negative on politics in that one. We're going to keep everything positive, but we're going to have a memorandum of 9/11 and an honoring of this amazing nation and some of the unbelievable young men and women that reside in it. So I hope you guys can join us for that. It's going to be one that means a lot to me. It's going to be one that means a lot to me, and whether 0 people watch it or 1 million people watch it, I don't care, because I ain't doing it for anybody other than myself and what I believe should be done and said. So that's how we're going to do that on Saturday night. I will try to air part of the seminar from tomorrow night. Tomorrow night when I get home from the seminar. Sunday we will have a podcast. We will be getting everybody ready for the See the Outdoors tournament. That podcast will have the most up-to-date. We're going to get as many fishing guides as I can on the podcast to give you the most up-to-date reports and activity on Lake Fork for See the Outdoors. And then we'll move forward next week with the Lake Fork content. Tackle Talk Tuesday will be on Facebook on Tuesday. Be back here on Thursday. I mean, just every day. You will have a piece of content coming on your Lake Fork guide every day until next Friday will be the first time you don't have a piece of content. So we're going to be busy. We're going to get after it. And we're going to do the best we can to help you guys catch more and bigger fish and love our fellow man. And oh yeah, like we always do, we're going to honor this great nation the best we can as well. Now, I believe that we will win. No, I believe that we had a little bit of a request for some of this going out the door. Hey, there's a great American right there. Y'all know what I'm saying? Old Uncle Ted. He's one that stands up for what he believes in. He speaks his mind. And I believe we should all do the same. And I'm going to try and lead by example when it comes to that, because I'm going to do it on my platform as long as I'm lucky enough to have a platform. I can't thank all of you enough. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. I love y'all for everything that you've helped me build here. I couldn't do it without every one of y'all, man. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. Yes. Y'all go out and get after this weekend, man. Go catch some big old bass. Kiss your loved ones, hug them, and just be grateful to be in this great nation where for the last 20 years we've had young men and women that have fought the fight in the bad guys' backyard to keep them away from ours. And thank y'all very much once again, man. We'll see y'all next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.